Good evening. It's 6:11 p.m. on the 28th of August 2024. I'm going to read some telegrams concerning Deng Pidang Nutin Utanakun's passing a few days ago. I'm going to remove some of the identifying details because I think you're going to be able to get the gist of the message without that. The first one. Very, very sad news, mate. Sorry for the reading. A lot of memories flooding back. Dang and G played a huge role in our lives. They looked after us and cared for us young teachers. I'm thinking of lots of good times we shared together. Uh, she put up a very brave and long fight. It was really amazing to see how she handled it and was so open. Sorry for taking so long to reply. A very hard time. Uh, and that was, in that case, that was about 48 hours after my friend there getting the news, and he was closer to Dang than I was, more time together. And he and I was sending him photos and information. I wasn't harassing him. I wasn't saying, "Hey, call me now," or "There's an emergency," or send him a message. No, I just, uh, yeah, like he said, I knew it was hard for him, and so it just took him a while to get his, be able to respond. Next one, another teacher, a good friend. Haven't seen him in years, even though we used to work very closely together. I share your sense of loss. We were on the verge of starting a business together before I had to leave the land of smiles. A loss to all who knew her, and my condolences to her family. Uh, Great gent there. Another important one, and I told this friend, the leader, about the news, and he knew about it already because he's closer to Dang than I am. And he said, many years ago I was at a family funeral where things were nasty. Ever since I have kept my counsel and kept my thoughts silent when people pass. So forgive me for staying quiet. So that friend there, I mean, he's a famous writer, and yet he hasn't commented in it, and that's completely understandable. A different approach there. Another one, another sort of a good friend who I haven't seen in a decade. Hi, Mike. I saw your heartfelt Facebook post and watched it from start to end, and that's how I feel about her passing. Just home from work a while ago. Dang, for reasons I don't understand, cut communications with me after I left Bangsen and AUA closed. I'm not sure why she did that. There was no big falling out, nothing like that. But it was willful and intentional on her part, and I respected that thereafter. And fantastic dude there. Yeah, I need to comment a little bit on my guess for what could have happened there. Otherwise, people are going to wonder what that stranger. I think it may have been related to the centre closing down. 25 years ago, we sort of had this key role, and the school were almost had a monopoly over the area. I mean, the college as it wasn't a school, but the local primary and high schools, they didn't have teachers at that time, and we didn't have the internet like now. And over the years, things changed in the landscape of Thailand education. There were more English teachers around. They started appearing in kindergartens and primary schools, and it was all good news. They needed more English, and that's what was happening, and things were happening online, and the landscape just changed. And the school, the college where I work, it still had numbers, but I think there was a bit of a decision to close it, because there were so many other things operating in the university at that time that were just teaching English in different ways. And I'm just guessing that might have been hard on Dang. Dang was really the heart of that important time, and as you can see, a lot of people impacted on their lives in a positive way, and perhaps my friend there, because he was a manager, maybe that was a bit hard for Dang and she needed a bit of time away. I'm not sure, I'm just speculating there. I'll come back to that. Another one, she suffered, a different person here, an older friend. She suffered so much. She's free. I live on the edge of sorrow since my sister died a couple of years back, and I haven't been able to approach the loss of Dang at all. We were good mates, he said. She shared lots with me until I got a bit messy. And then he had a bit of a joke because I'd sent so many messages. Are you on speed, or is that normal for you? And I said, the recent video? He said, no. Anyway, I said, you got messy? I don't recall that. Or was that later on? I said. And then he replied, I'm at work past midnight in tears. So he stayed he hasn't gone home. He stayed at work in tears because I've stayed away from Dang's imminent end. I said to him, you were always one of the leading teachers. And he replied, she was disappointed in me. And then he said, leading teachers bullshit. She didn't approve. And I kind of got the feeling that my good friend there was beating himself up a bit. Him and Dang were as thick as thieves. He was fluent in Thai years before anyone else. And he was unique in that sense. And he was well liked and well loved. And that ending there was a bit unusual. Another mate, handsome, charming guy. So I heard. She is missed. Thank you for the photo. And lady, important person for me said, Thai lady, I know she was suffering. She should be in heaven. And yeah, that friend there, I know that she thinks in Thai and it's sort of been a translation to English, but should is the same sort of idea in Thai as English. So interesting to say she should be in heaven. It can mean she should be, but she's not, or it could mean she probably is in heaven by now. Yeah, pretty deeper heaven. Okay, let's take a look at this from the point of view of an atheist. I mean, someone might say there is no heaven, and so a soul's not there, and so what is all this carrying on about? Somebody else might think that, or maybe her soul has gone to heaven, and or maybe you might have some middle ground there and think that her memory lives on. And people have been sending me all sorts of different understandings of the world and the universe and thought and what have you. But yeah, I've certainly been looking at that point. Dang was so special for all these people, and the people are mourning now, but yeah, by all means, she should be somewhere in heaven, bloody having a great time. But look at those communications there. You got one guy who's can't reply. He's just can't bring himself to reply. Not that he doesn't want to reply ever, doesn't want to voice what he's feeling at all, but it's too much for him. And that guy's a teacher who's teaching every day, so he's a confident person, and he's been stuck. And then we sort of had there the other guy who doesn't want to comment at all out of his choice, and we all respect that. So some people are going to need time to reply. Doesn't mean you have to cut them off. You can still keep communicating with them even though they're not ready to communicate back. Some people don't want to say anything. They've said stuff in the past and it's hurt them, and they, forgive me for staying quiet. You're going to get that. It doesn't mean they don't want to hear from you. It doesn't mean that they don't want to get updates or news or what have you, but they want to stay quiet, and that's come from a guy who's a famous writer. So if he doesn't need to stay quiet, he could write a masterpiece, but he wants to stay quiet, not just for Deng's story, which I know would have hit him hard. He's married, but there's never any. I can confidently say there was never any romance there with him and Deng, and Deng with anyone else. But I'm sure he's hitting him very, very hard. Then the other guy there, another guy who was also in a position of responsibility and a fantastic guy. I'm sure there was nothing bad, deeply bad, that happened between him and Deng, but I think it was probably, I'm just guessing, but I think it was the closing of the center that might have been a bit heavy for Deng. If he kind of had no idea of medical knowledge or genetics or anatomy or physiology, you could probably say that the closing of AUA caused the cancer. I mean, of course that wasn't the case, but emotionally it probably was very hard for Deng to see her life's work getting closed. And I don't know, other people tell me about it if you know more than me, and you probably do. I'm sure you do. And the other guy there, the final guy there, beating himself up over it, she didn't approve, I got messy, all this stuff. I mean, just, guys, if you got a message to send, you got to clear the water, just do it. If you got to do it. Send that message now, ask for forgiveness, do it.